Over the course of his career, my next guest has hosted and interviewed a wide range of guests, from authors to musicians to some of the most prominent political figures of our times. Dick Cavett has never been afraid to push a button or two. Joining me now via Skype is the TV icon himself, Dick Cavett. Welcome, Dick Cavett. How are you?
Oh, you caught me in mid-gulp.
Well, that's good, as long as it was
I
just
can't help
gulp.
pointing out that you look like $1 million, and on my screen I look like a mime who's been dead for 3 years.
No, you're incredible. And I
That's
must
Skype.
say that when I was sick, thank you for this book, because this book just came out, and this is Brief Encounters, Conversations, Magic Moments, and Assorted Hijinks, and it is wonderful, so I recommend everybody reading it. It tells your incredible story, and I want to go into a little bit of depth because Nixon did not like you. I don't know what you did. You are mentioned
Couldn't you have
26.
spoken that to me more gently? No, the great unindicted co-conspirator and I did not see eye to eye. Didn't mean to make that rhyme. And you know, one of the things I'm proudest of has nothing to do with my show, but the documentary a couple months ago that was on PBS called Dick Cavett's Watergate, when the guy who does my DVDs said, "You've got a ton of Watergate stuff in your old shows." So we produced this really good show. It's online, Dick Cavett's Watergate.
Right, it is online. And you interviewed people from both sides. You started out with Kennedy,
Yes.
and you were even in the Senate chambers doing one of your shows. How did that happen?
That's hard to believe, isn't it? I don't know who arranged that. I'm astonished when I see myself sitting there in the witness's actual chair for my show taping and saying I had no knowledge of the break-in. One of the sure laughs in the show, but it's a riveting show. And I still ask myself, how did we get to do it in the very hearing room that the entire country was glued to every day during Watergate? And there was some dissension too. Why are you letting a cheap television personality come into this august hearing room doing the nation's business? Well, we did, and it was good.
Well, people were watching your show to find out more about what was going on with Watergate because you had all the information and all the people from both sides. And Nixon, like I said, you're mentioned in the White House tapes with him like 26 times. So,
Joanne, do you believe that? I still have not heard but the most famous one to come out at the beginning, on which I have the treat that very few citizens get of seeing the chief executive of the most powerful nation in the country say, "Cavett, what can we do to screw him?"
and that's on record too, right? That's right there.
You can hear it. You can go to YouTube and see it as he sits with his lickspittle, an Elizabethan term, H.R. Haldeman, as they decide, as Haldeman sort of pretends they've been trying to get at me because Richard Milhous Nixon found that his ideas were not getting onto my show.
Well, he also wanted to deport John Lennon, and you actually were there to try to stop that. What happened with that?
Yeah, when I stunned everybody by getting John and Yoko on the show, I guess first time after the Beatle breakup.
Right after.
John said, "Would you come down to court with me in a couple of days? The Nixon administration is trying to boot me out of the country," and I did.
And you were wonderful. Now you had, like I said, so many incredible guests, and you were a friend of the world champion 3 times, Muhammad Ali, and you even sparred with him a little bit on, I guess, off camera, off screen. What was that like to be with him?
With Ali?
Yes.
Ali was my best friend for a long time. He just loved me and I him, and he would brighten up when I came around, and I would when he did. One night he even spent the night at my house on Long Island, where I am now, in fact, hence the poor lighting. And my late wife called the house. I was outdoors, and she said, "Darling," and a voice said to her, this ain't Darlin. It's only 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, and I'm sleeping in your bed and I'm watching your TV. And she said, well, Mr. Ali.
Wow,
Like
she knew who he was.
I will put a plaque on that bed. That's all she never made me.
Well, right now there's so much going on with social media. Do you see that as actually being a downfall or doing something good in terms of people putting out so much information about themselves?
It's a pretty bewildering thing, but I certainly wouldn't trade it for all its crap and junk any more than I would trade in TV for all its crap and junk, because as in any art or any form, up at the top is the cream, and it's invaluable and wonderful. Most art is junk, but the geniuses and the good people are up there at the top, and same as in acting and everything else. I think you can't try to keep up with everything each day from Google. The various things that you can go and hear people say profound things like, I had the greatest towel at the gym today. That sort of tweeted twaddle, you might call it.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I can't do that. Like, I just put more cream in my coffee or something like that. That's
yeah. And not even make it dramatic and say I spilled a drop or give you a little storyline. But we lived in a time, some of us, when you were too young to, when, let's say, a man wanted to write a book about Alexander Pope's poetry, his wife had to teach for 3 years so he could afford to go to England to read the files and the research and so on. And now it's at your fingertips.
We'll be more with legendary talk show host Dick Cavett when we return. Stay with us.